Did you know that 1 out of every 5 people struggle with binge eating? I wish I knew that before because I spent literally decades struggling against binging. I think I started when I was in my early teens, and I was always really sneaky about it because I would take the food before we ate and I would take more, and after dinner I'd have more because I was putting stuff in the fridge and I could take a little bit more. I didn't want to be fat, so I purged and harmed my body and had this vicious cycle of starving myself for a few days after doing a binge and then binge again. And as I got older, I started to think, why do I have such a lack of self control? I don't see other people doing this. What's wrong with me? Why can't I get a grip? Where is my willpower? Where is my strength of character? By the time I was 350 pounds, I hated myself. I was disgusted with myself. I was angry with myself because I let myself go. I had stopped purging. I stopped caring. I cut off the rest of the world. I isolated myself completely and I ate. I kept food here behind me. I kept it in my night table. I kept it beside the sofa. I had food stuffed everywhere just in case I needed it. And I would go out in the middle of the night to go get my food. Out of control. Every morning I binged on cookies, and every evening I binged on chips or popcorn. I had ice cream. I would binge every day on ice cream. So 2 or 3 binges a day was the norm for me. And I gained a lot of weight really quickly. And every pound more that I grew, I was so much more remorseful. And the reason we keep going back to binging is because we're trying to comfort whatever it is inside us that's going wrong. And I had a lot going on in my life. So I was just trying to bury the pain by literally shoving it down my throat and thinking it would go away. I remember just how defeated I felt because time after time I couldn't break the cycle. So I want to talk to you today. If you're someone who feels you binge and this is sounding a little like your story, then listen. To binging was a sign of the toxic relationship I had with food. I thought that food was going to comfort me. I thought that food would make me feel better, and it was this really bad habit and really bad cycle because once in a while when I was thinking straight, I think, oh gosh, what are you doing? Come on, you've got to stop this. Get a grip, Easter. Get control and stop eating so much. Just be normal. But I couldn't be normal. It wasn't within me to be able to stop at that point until I learned coping strategies, until I learned mindfulness, and I learned to release the pain inside me and finally let it go after decades of hanging on to some of it. Decades. As well as what I was eating being really bad because there was way too much of it and a lot of stuff that was really high in sugar, high in everything that you're not supposed to have. I would eat it all day long. I had to change my food, but I also had to change my food behaviors. And binging was a really toxic behavior that I had adopted. And the thought of not binging at night, the thought of not binging those 12 huge cookies every single morning was terrifying to me because I didn't know. Because I thought what I was doing was covering up the pain. I thought I was swallowing it away. I thought I was being comforted. I really believed this lie. But the thing that would happen is after I binged, I just feel like I need to do it again because I feel so guilty and so shameful, so remorseful. And I wanted to cover up those feelings too and binged again. So the answer became apparent, and I joined a weight loss group. And the focus was to work on the behaviors of your food as well as what you're eating and have a support system in place, which was fantastic. So I came to realize that why I was eating so much was because I couldn't cope with life situations, current situations, which honestly, I have a lot of stress in my life, and past situations that were pretty hard things to move past. And they were scars in me that were actively flaming up and bothering me from time to time. And I wouldn't understand why I was eating. So I started to keep a food journal, and I would really recommend this to you because I put 2 columns on every page. The first column was I feel like eating and what I was thinking of going to eat. And the second column was what am I really feeling inside now? Because once I realized that binging was a behavior associated with the pain inside me, I started to deal with the pain inside me and find a healthy way to let it out. Because if you're swallowing it down and burying it further, it's like a cancer. It just spreads, it grows, it festers, and it harms your spirit, it harms your psyche, it harms your being. And this behavior does nothing for you except make you feel shame and guilt and remorse and go back and do it again because you need to feel good again. So if you feel like that, I would suggest start a food journal. Talk about your emotions. When you catch yourself ready to binge and you stop yourself, really stop for a minute. Just pause and take a deep breath. Pray for a minute and deeply think about what's going on in here. Are you stressed about something at work? Are you stressed about your kids? Are you stressed about your marriage or whatever it may be? Or it could be that something from your past is irritating you, or maybe somebody today snapped at you and it really hurt you, and this is your coping mechanism because you think the food is going to cover it up and make you feel better. That was what binging was like for me. If someone snapped at me, I found comfort in food. If somebody talked over me and was rude and wouldn't listen to me, I ate. Because I was so non-confrontational, I wouldn't argue with anyone. I wouldn't tell them, can you please think of another way to say that? And I had a hard time setting boundaries. But when I learned to set boundaries, when I learned to accept that I have pain that I need to get rid of, I started journaling the pain, not just the emotion, but the pain. What was it going inside me? What was it? Was it that person who snapped at me today? And I need to release it. So I would release it and put it on paper, or actually I switched from paper to and put it on paper. And it made a big difference because going from swallowing it down and pressing it down where it can only grow and fester more to actually letting go of it and putting it on paper and then praying about it or meditating or doing some deep thinking, as long as you're releasing it to whatever it is you believe in, whatever it is that you identify with as having some faith. If you let go of that pain and you give it up and you stop believing that that is your identity, to be someone who feels hurt, to be someone who feels angry, so lonely, so sad, and so in a dark place, it doesn't have to be like that. And I'm telling you, you can come out of that place because you only harm yourself more every day that you don't step out of it. And journaling, praying, and then afterwards do something with yourself. Do something to get busy. Do something to release that energy. And I often go for walks when I'm having a really hard time with something, and it helps me clear my mind. And I take time to pray and meditate when I'm walking. I do really deep thinking when I'm walking. And after I pray, I feel like it's gone. It's just gone. It doesn't bother me anymore. That's not to say new situations don't arise, because they do. But if you have the ability to say, hey, you know what, there's a better way to deal with things, then you will be able to conquer binge eating and overeating, because gaining back control of your feelings, getting rid of those feelings that have been festering inside you for so long, becoming someone who doesn't hate themselves because you're always failing and always feeling like you're weak and not normal, that is going to change your life. Just try it. It works. The next thing I'm going to suggest is to be mindful. Do things that are going to keep you busy. They'll keep your mind busy. They'll keep your hands busy. And that could be crafting. It could be whittling. It could be pottery. It could be crossword puzzles. I love logic puzzles. And a big one for me is learning languages, because I love learning languages. And I'm not a polyglot, but I get by in a few languages, so I'm really proud of myself. So do something productive with the time, or something that you enjoy. It could be coloring or painting or whatever you have to do. And another thing you can think of doing is thinking, where can I show some kindness today? Where can I give back? I've just been blessed with releasing this pain. Maybe I can do something for someone else and make them feel better too. And I always found that even if I might not feel like it, making a phone call to someone I know who's in a bad place, or sending a text message, or spending some time with them was a really powerful way to balance myself. And I'm not someone who's very social, so doing that was something that was difficult for me, but I did it anyways because I needed to put my focus off of myself, stop festering in the pain, stop living in the mud, and letting myself grow like a butterfly until, surprisingly, in 23 months, I was able to lose 200 pounds. And I know some of you are up there too, or even 20, 30 pounds overweight, and it's just stubborn and you can't get rid of it. If you employ these strategies and you really stick to your food plan, you'll see changes happen. And it's not painful. It's not horrible to go through. What's horrible is the fear you have before you start your journey. The fear you have that, oh my God, what am I going to do without my food? How can I live without sugar? I'll never like my coffee without sugar. That was me. I don't drink sugar in my coffee anymore. Yay. But I do still have a bit of cream in it. But once you start to do this, you're going to feel your spirit lightening. You're going to feel like your weight is lifted off your shoulders. And that's what you're doing by releasing the pain that drives you to binge in the first place. So mindfulness, journaling, and a food journal, as well as doing something either for someone else or getting out of the house and going for a walk, putting some music on and dancing, something to get rid of that negative energy. And remember, you are someone who is beautiful. You are beautiful and you deserve to feel better about yourselves. I know you're listening to me on my videos because I see it in the comments and I see how many people are watching. So I want to say I'm proud of you, because even having the desire to do it is a first step. Because when you're living in the darkness, you don't think, oh, I want to watch this because I maybe someday I'll do it. But it doesn't have to be someday. When you're ready, you're going to do it, and you're going to take that first brave step, and all of a sudden the fear will be less powerful, and you'll take that first step and start your first day, and it's going to be miraculous after that. It just develops so quickly and you see changes so quickly. So I'm actually really excited because several of you have commented that you're losing, and it's very humbling, to be honest with you, and such an honor to be a part of something so treasured by you. So if this video spoke to your heart, if it resonated with you, please drop a comment and let me know what it is that stood out to you, and maybe your feelings, how you're feeling, if you're scared to start, and we can talk about it. So don't forget to give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you soon with more.